Hello, hello, and welcome back for another episode of SV and Roxy, where we have conversations for the everyday woman by two everyday women. Okay, Roxanne, this week in the news, we found out somebody that I've actually met, really liked, really enjoyed, fellow Houstonian, is getting a divorce. And, me thinking, a woman who has like birthed magic out of her womb twice, like she should not even be bothered by a man or, whatever they're doing. But divorce can invite adversity into one's life, right? So I wanted to talk about, how does one maintain joy in the midst of an adversity or a challenge in life? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to go through stuff that happens throughout our life, right? I mean, unfortunately, divorce, death, losing a job, relationship, family member, it all is going to trigger, negative emotions, right? Which is normal. And I think, with experience, you learn to accept that challenge is a part of life. My mother always told me, I think her father told her, life can be beautiful if you can survive it.
Wow.
And definitely the older you get, you go through so many experiences where, you have to make that choice. Do I want to fight to survive? Even if it was like losing your job, do I want to fight to survive?
Yeah.
Or do I want to give up? Right. And
Right.
So it's a part of life, and things are gonna happen. Those rainy day events are gonna happen. But, to me, it's how you accept it and deal with it that really determines the outcome. So, like in divorce, and I'm a product of having a divorce as well. I wanted to maintain as much as a happy environment at home that I could for my child.
Right.
And even for my mental health, because we go through extremes when you break any relationship, short term or long term. It's going to affect us. It's going to affect your mental state. It can affect your physical state if it gets too deep and you're really dealing with stuff. I mean, stress naturally can do that, but how can we survive and maintain that equilibrium in our life? And when you mentioned this topic to me, I wanted to take a look and say, when I go through experiences in life, am I happy or am I joyous? And really think about, what's the difference of being joyful and being happy? So I had to take a look at it. And a lot of the research I read, they do have distinctions between the two. And here's an example. It said that the terms can be used interchangeably, which we often do. Not sure if we really think deeply about how we use those terms. But it says that, technically, happiness refers to the pleasurable feeling or outcome or emotion that results from any situation, any experience you have. Whereas joy is a state of mind that you kind of plan to have for dealing with things. That can be fine even in terms of, grief or uncertainty. Like, how many times have you been to a funeral and it's a celebration of life? Have you been to those?
Very few.
Okay.
Very
and
few,
I have
but
too,
yes.
but yeah, and even, burying family members. Um, obviously you're going to be hurt, but a lot of times you want to celebrate, who they were and what they represented to you, and think about the good things about them versus the bad things. So it really is kind of the joyous things you remember about their life that tend to come out during eulogies, right? Just all the good stuff, the good memories. So, that you can have a distinction between the two terms. So, winning the lottery, right? Winning the lottery that we all want to do. The short-term state of happiness, but what's most important, compared to like winning the lottery, is like really engaging in meaningful activities that really results in long-term joy.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is a mindset. It's how you approach the situation.
Yeah.
Coming from a psychological background, I do believe you have to process emotions, definitely process the emotions that you're feeling, but there should be a shift to where your focus shifts to what are some of the solutions? And like you said, how do I maintain this kind of balance in the home for my child where it's not all gloom, doom, what I might be feeling internally, right? But there are other people around me. I have to go to work. I have a child. So what can I do, to help myself to reach a certain state of mindset while I push through whatever adversity I'm working through, right? How do I get there? For me, I try to do, yes, processing what's going on emotionally with myself. But then I want to turn and look at, okay, so what are some of the solutions? Where can we go from, or where do I want this to end up, right? If you're talking about the end of a relationship, or are you talking about loss of a job, change of, career, every ending, there is a new beginning. Somehow, some way, it's going to be a rough patch to get to that new beginning sometimes. So what do we have to do to maintain? And then also this is not just me, this came from Oprah watching you. So I'm going to give her credit where credit is due. Asking when you face these adversities, what are you here to teach me? What is the lesson that I'm supposed to get out of this? It took me years to figure out, and I tell my students this all the time as well, there's no failure in life. Life is all about lessons. You're not failing at anything, you're learning. If you ask the question, what am I supposed to be taking away from this? What am I supposed to be learning from this? How am I supposed to grow and evolve from this? So that's a lot of my approach as well. Like, what is the lesson in this? That also helps me to kind of shift my emotional state if I need a little push out of the kind of gloom and doom about the situation.
Oh, yeah.
For me to try to figure out, okay, so life has put this on my plate. What am I supposed to take away from this in order to move forward or elevate, level up, to where I need, where I'm going next?
Yeah, I like that. And you took an approach just psychologically from your expertise, right, as a psychologist. But you talked about the positive emotional changes, but also chemical changes, like you hear about even when you work out or even with sex, you have an increase of endorphins, right?
Yes.
Increases. And so all those are those positive neurotransmitters that come out from feeling good, feeling joyous, right? So those are positive things that are happening just inside of our bodies, right? Or it's stimulating us mentally. But for the long term, yeah, there are a lot of good things. I think about, during breakups, and I know a lot of my sisters, and probably you too.
Yeah.
What do we do when we have a breakup? You go to the gym, right? You get in a workout program. You want to lose weight and get your body straight. So when you see them again,
walk away
you look
looking
tight,
good,
right?
Okay.
So they know what they lost. So those are those positive things that come out of challenging situations that I know we do all the time. We being our sisters out there, to make ourselves look good and feel good. We go get a new haircut. We might change it up. We change up our look, right? And then we want to step out so everybody can see, hey, and especially let him see, look how good I look. So those are the positive things that you can do, right? In addition to the neurotransmitter changes chemically in your body. But how do you increase joy? A lot of things that I'll just speak for myself that I do. Physical activity. Always. It keeps me in just kind of a steady state where I'm not always joyous, but I feel good, right? And if there is any, depression encroaching upon me or negative thought or negative self-talk that we do, physical exercise keeps me out of that space, out of that realm. And so that's really positive for me, and also allows me to meditate while I'm working out. Right. And so, and I always feel like you got to get out of yourself a
Mhm.
lot of times when you're feeling bad and to stay joyous, and what do? You help others. You
There
reach
you go.
out, you
Yeah.
volunteer, you find a way to serve other
Yes.
people.
Mhm.
And when you're serving others, you can't help but get out of your head and
Mhm.
feel good about how you can help someone else in their situation. And it could be your
Absolutely.
personal experience. It could be just your time. It could be listening to someone. It could be, cleaning out your closet and bringing out the stuff that you don't wear anymore,
Yes.
right, to someone who does need it. So,
Mhm.
volunteering is a great way. I talked about meditation. Whether you're in a yoga class, learning how to do it, whether you look at some of these new apps that you have on your iPhone
Mhm.
that, can alert you to time for mindfulness and meditation throughout the day,
Yes.
great ways to stay joyous.
Mhm.
And hey, discovering something new, getting
Mhm.
out of your routine. Go take a painting class, go take a sculpting
Right.
class, ceramic class. Discovering something new also
Mhm.
can provide new joyous experiences to replace some of the previous ones that maybe weren't as joyous.
Mhm.
And spending time with good people, spend time with other people who are positive and who all don't operate in a negative state. So, for me, these are things that I do just to strengthen my state of staying in a continuous mode of being joyous
Yes.
and creating more happy experiences in life. So what
Yes.
about you?
Yeah. 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 Um, the last one that you talked about, hanging around, good, like-minded,
Mm,
joyous people. You definitely want to do that. But I also want to make this note. When I was going through my darkest of times,
mhm,
that's when I really was able to identify my true support system, the people that were there and were going to be there for me no
mhm,
matter what.
mhm.
And in that brought some joy and some hope, because I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like, this crater has opened up in the earth and I don't know how I'm going to get
Oh,
it
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And I had these few people that were continuously lifting me up and literally like pulling me, like, no, we're
Mhm,
going out, we're going to lunch, or no, I'm going to go to court with you, or no, I'm going to sit
mhm,
down with you,
mhm,
all of
mhm,
those things. So it really, and that's one of the silver linings, I guess I would say,
mhm.
is that you're able to, because I had a lot of people around me at that time, but how many people were actually for me,
That's
that
so
was
true.
identified, yeah, when I was in those
Who's
moments.
gonna be in your corner when times are down, right?
Girl,
When you are down in the dungeon and don't
yes,
and doesn't look so pretty then, right? Or you are
yes,
flat broke and you don't know what you're gonna
yes,
do. You gotta have a support system. And I think so few of
yes,
us, have, you can count people on maybe just one hand
yes,
that you can call up and say, "Hey, I am not doing
yes,
good. Can you get over here?" Right? Someone's gonna
yes,
come over, friends gonna bring you some dinner, some lunch, come over and help you take your hair out or whatever it may be,
girl.
and just listen to you,
And
right? And
that
be
is a great
real.
note. That is an
Yeah.
excellent note for younger people,
Mm-hmm.
because we a lot of times when we're younger, we think we have to have all these people around. Like I said, at that time, I knew a lot of people, but
Mm-hmm.
there were not a lot of people that were really going to step up and be there for me.
Yeah.
I identified friends that just wanted to be around to be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
That was their whole objective, just to
Oh yeah.
see me at my lowest moment. I
Yeah.
had family members that were like betting against me, like legitimately
Mm-hmm.
betting against
Mm-hmm.
me, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
$100 for,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it really, that is so important, I think, for young people. That's a great note for them. Like, just understand, when it really boils down to it, the people who you can truly, truly count on it will be either, the amount of people that you can count on your hand,
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I
would,
feel for them because, for the young people out there and, a lot of their life is based on the influencers they see who look
yeah.
fantastic when they're pulling them up on Instagram or what have you. They look
Mhm,
great, like their life is perfect. But
mhm,
you don't know what's going on, behind the scenes. And so as you talked about as having a support system, So important. And some of us aren't blessed to have all that. But if
Yeah.
you have two or three people in your corner that you can call on, it's so healthy to be able to call someone and talk when you need to
Mhm.
talk and be listened to and you need help, or you need someone to make suggestions on how you can help the situation. So
Right.
important. And even if outside of just having a good, I always say a tight circle around
Mhm.
you. I
Mhm.
mean, even like knowing who a good attorney is in case you need it,
Yes.
knowing someone who can help you with your finances, right?
Yeah.
And a good accountant, right? Especially for
Mhm.
tax time. Those are three things in life you got to carry with you at all times. You got to have a good accountant. You got to have good doctors. You got to have,
Great
a
points.
good financial advisor. You have to have
Mhm.
a good attorney just in case.
Great
And
point.
those things that, if you have those support systems along with your friends and close family members around you, when those things happen, that can bring you down to your knees and you're crying out to God for help in the middle of the night, when you
Yes.
have that additional support, that
Yeah.
allows you to be joyous, right? And have a little bit more
Yes.
clarity in mind to
Mhm.
get you through,
Mhm.
right? From the dark to the light.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
and we have, between the two of us, we have a great network of people. So I would say, at any given moment, like, oh, somebody wants to buy a house. Oh, I got somebody for you. Oh, somebody has this legal issue. I got somebody. I got a friend for you. And those are things that you build over time, and
Mhm.
those that you can rely on. And there's still going to be some of them that you're going to have to kind of toss out and weed through. But when
Mhm.
you get that core team and
Mhm.
keep those relationships with them,
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah.
great source of not only wisdom and guidance, but also when you need, and then when they need something. I can't tell you how many of my friends counsel and don't charge, so
Yeah.
they'll come to me for whatever.
Yeah.
But if I need some legal advice, oh yeah, what do you need? Let me send me the document. Let me see it. What's going on? That sort of thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that's a great point. Definitely with the exercise, releasing those endorphins naturally. One thing which I believe we have in common as well is getting out in nature
Yes.
on a
Yes.
beautiful day
Yes.
where there's a nice cool breeze, but the sun
Yeah.
is still out and you can hear the
Yeah.
birds chirp. Like that just immediately
Yeah.
takes me to a joyous space, even though I might be in the midst of chaos and trying to
Mhm.
figure so many things
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
It just allows you to clear your mind and
Yeah.
totally zone out and just focus on the music of the birds, or
Mhm.
or the
Mhm.
rays of sun that are warming your skin, those sorts of things.
Oh yeah, get a pet. If you like pets and you want a pet, they are a great source. I'm trying to walk in my door after hard days and just look at my dog and just like immediately those things are gone, right? And
Mhm.
I can take him out. We can do a hike. It just takes all that away,
Yes,
and I can breathe and take a
yes,
breath and pause, right? And
yes.
you're right. So those are all great things that I just definitely would encourage people to think about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have any like, because I have a couple of little mantras or sayings that get me kind of out of that, if I see or if I feel I'm drifting towards a negative kind of stuck mindset, something
Mhm.
that you just say to yourself that kind of pulls you out or reminds you,
Yeah.
it's a moment. It's a moment in time. This is not going to be the rest of your life. It's literally a moment. Do you have
Yeah.
anything like that that you just
I
can give the
do, Shauna.
audience?
Mine is the Serenity Prayer. And
Okay.
I have learned over the years to not just know it, but be able to know when to use it and apply it. And
Yeah.
it's simple as this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Hmm.
I find myself reciting that very often, and it just
Yeah.
grounds me, calms me, and helps me have more clarity and
Hmm.
see the situation in a different way.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, love that. I always remind myself, and I tell people all the time that I talk to, life is full of peaks and valleys.
Mhm.
And when you find yourself in a valley, just know that that peak is coming. All you have to do is hang on.
Yeah.
All you have to do is hang on. Life is going to balance itself out and it's going to continue to move. Um, because I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that, and this is my personal belief, that our purpose is bigger than most of the things that we believe is monumental in this human experience that
Oh,
we're,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So universe, God, higher power, whatever you might call it, is working for you. Like it's helping you to achieve that purpose. So everything else that's happening, it's those lessons that you need to get to help you propel you along on that purpose. So it's not meant to break you or take you out,
Yeah.
because the universe is pushing for you to achieve, the collective is pushing for you
Yes.
to achieve that purpose.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
once,
the universe wants the best for you. And you mentioned it earlier, you know, it's really relying on your higher power, whatever that higher power is to you, and really rely on it and turn to it often. But you mentioned the word valley, and a go-to book that I found when I was in my, you know, early 20s that just really just so meaningful to me is by Iyanla Van Zant,
yes,
and it's called The Value in the Valleys. And it takes it through
uh,
a lot of different real life characters
uh-huh.
and situations they went through.
Mhm.
And what that teachable lesson was in the end, you
Yes,
talked about earlier, teachable
yes,
moment, teachable lesson
yeah,
that they learned from that experience. Because if they didn't learn from the experience, it really wasn't helpful. But those who found value in the valley,
mhm.
they came out stronger and better. So
Exactly.
good book to keep on hand
Oh, that's a
by
great note to
Iyanla
give
Van Zant.
everyone. Great
Mm-hmm.
note, great note.
Yeah.
Um, I'll say there's also a scripture that one of my favorite scriptures, John
Mm-hmm.
1:5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never overcome the light.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how dark the situation may appear,
Mm-hmm.
understand there's always light, there's always hope. Always keep hope in that situation, because you cannot be, your light cannot be diminished or overcome. So you're going to make it through it. You just got to persevere, and there's a lesson in it. There's something in it that you're supposed to be learning. And
That's
another
it.
key thing we want to tell
Mhm.
people is, if you don't get it, unfortunately, you're
It's
bound
going
to
to
kind of,
repeat itself
you're
until you
going to
get it.
repeat it. There you go. You're
Yeah.
going to repeat it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you want to try to really focus on getting that lesson. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think you covered a lot. And I this is a good topic, right? It's a good
Mhm.
reminder for me to keep, you know, that joyous state
Yeah,
of mind
yeah,
at all times when possible. And definitely for me, prayer helps. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Prayer, meditation,
Hmm.
every day, and just
Hmm.
no matter what your situation is, no matter what you're going through, just understand that every ending,
Hmm.
at the end of that, there's a new beginning. There's a new beginning. So just latch on to that and hang on for the ride. And trust
Hmm.
me, things are going to turn around.
Hmm.
They will turn around. Well, thank you all for joining us for another episode. Please, 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 we encourage you to go to YouTube and watch the previous episodes, and like, share, comment, and subscribe to the
Yeah.
channel. On this last slide, all of our handles will be there, and
Mhm.
we'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.